that, and look out for Joyce's column and for to come.
Yeah.
That's great stuff, great stuff. So if someone wants to join now the World Affairs Council, they hear about this, they decide to give that $60,
Right,
whatever it is.
right.
Okay, and do you have like meetings monthly? Do you meet quarterly? What happens?
Well, if you want to be a member, first of all, our website is www.wacharrisburg, so WACHARRISBURG.org is our website. And you will find all the information there on how to join. You would basically write a check, to World Affairs of Council of Harrisburg and send it to the Foundation for Enhancing Communities. And all that information is on the website. We are having regular, not necessarily meetings, but regular events. Speakers, I've told you about Dr. Akbar Ahmed. I've told you about the women's series that we have. We also, in collaboration with International House and Harrisburg University, are doing a monthly Understanding the World Forum. I moderate that forum, and we are focusing for the next 4 months on the global economy. We recently, actually this month, had Michael Lynn from Washington, D.C.'s New America Foundation come, and he talked about the U.S. role in the overall global economy. And unfortunately, he did say that our role as the guarantor of the world's economic stability may be coming to an end, that we're not going to be able to loan money. Now, what will that mean? We're still the world's largest market, but we may not be able to bail the world out. And so what will that mean? We don't know. But so the next one, we're bringing in a New York Times correspondent who has written about Brazil. And he has Brazil on the Rise is the name of his book, and he's coming October 21st. The forum will be held with a reception opening at 5:30 at Harrisburg University on the 14th floor, and those are free. What we're doing is going to probably break away to a private reception afterwards for those who are members or those who can basically pay some sort of fee so that we can support the council.
Yeah, because one of the folks that we had in just recently was Nathaniel Quabo.
Oh, Nathaniel Quabo, thanks for reminding me. And that was a wonderful event. And really, it's unfortunate more people did not attend because we were just starting. But Nathaniel Quabo is Executive Secretary of Liberia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And Nathaniel Quabo gave us a wonderful rundown of basically the issues involved in peace and reconciliation around the world. And people think, well, let's just sit down and make peace, but it's not that easy. When atrocities have been committed, when you're looking at a mother who's lost her husband and 5 sons, and how is she going to forgive the person? But he walked through how these things, through African traditions or the Liberian traditions, are being brought about so that society can get back to some sense of normalcy. But he also says it's complicated because a lot of times people in power don't necessarily want peace and reconciliation, or don't want to be accountable for what they did during those times. So that event was wonderful, and we had a private dinner afterwards. People who could pay for the dinner came, and that was held at events in Hershey. So and the Hershey Medical School actually was the venue for that.
Wow.
And we're getting cooperated. Hershey Medical School is very supportive, and Dr. Galen Bradley is on our board as well. He's, I think, the co-director of the medical school. And Widener Law School is going to be Harry Whitty is on our board, and he's a professor there. And that's going to be the venue for Dr. Ahmed's talk. So we have such strong support, especially from the universities in the region, and I'm hoping that continues as well.
Oh, sure will, sure will. Yeah, man, this is fantastic.
Oh no, it's wonderful. It's
really
wonderful things.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Nate and I have talked about it, and Nate has had his own experiences as a third world journalist. Okay, back in the 70s, 80s,
70s,
80s,
80s and 90s,
80s and 90s. Okay.
But actually, we started in the 70s. That's really true.
But because you've seen so many,
but still, but you know what? I mean, where did you go? I can't remember.
Went a lot of places. From Grenada to the Middle East, like oh boy, Beirut.
Beirut. In the 70s?
In the 80s.
In the 80s. Okay, that was
it was rough.
It was rough during the period.
But recently we just had Dr. E. Curtis Alexander come in He's an outstanding historian, and he was part of the Capitol Book Fest. And he and I actually roomed together in Grenada. We started recounting some of that little history there. It was really, and it was 30 days before Grenada blew up and the whole world knew about it, you know. So we were the last journalists to really, you know, interview them. But it just helped me to understand also just how big the world is.
Yeah, because you were in Cuba.
Cuba, all those places,
Right. You know, sometimes I also, because I've been so many places and like you have, seen so many problems, and I sometimes also try to counsel, you know, even African Americans who of course have fought from years for rights, and that, you know, you're suffering, but there are people all over the world who are suffering.
Are they suffering?
And sometimes suffering without the kinds of tools to fight that we had in this country.
That's right.
I mean, I have seen, you know, issues such as in Turkmenistan, where, you know, minority groups just don't have any say, or even the normal, the majority have no say. And they, you know, education is cut off after a certain amount of time. I mean, you know,
things that you just, when we were in Africa, I mean, we just the kind of the stories that were shared with us, and how precious and that education is, and how it just isn't available. Like
That's
how
right.
young
You
people
don't pass
today,
the test, you don't move on.
That's right.
You just don't go any further.
Was it Pablo Fair? Is that Pablo Fair, the book? I'm trying to think of the groundbreaking book, and everyone thought he was an African American because it sounds so much like Our Journey and stuff. And he was actually from South America.
There you go.
Speaking about, you know, the issues of many Latinos who were going through the same issue, and it was just unbelievable. I think he's a Harvard professor, or whatever. But anyhow,
well, it's the same thing. I mean, when I was at a conference, and I've written about this with the Dalai Lama, and then to realize what the Tibetan people are going through, that they are not able to express their own cultures and all. China is kind of, and China's notorious for suppressing minority groups and different ethnicities. So. Yeah,
it's amazing.
And so the World Affairs Council will help us to have a world view.
Absolutely.
And especially to touch young people. They have to know. They just have to know.
That's right.
You know, because if they don't, they'll be doomed to, you know, we'll be doomed.
Absolutely.
You know, that same
and one of the biggest issues, I mean, I've wrote about, this is what my two books are about, Islam and the relations really between the Islamic world and the West. That is a crucial part of what we're doing because there's so much misunderstanding.
We didn't even touch on your books. Let's talk about the titles of your books. And
Absolutely. Well, I have two books and a chapter in another book, The Trauma of Terrorism, that a woman who's associated with the UN put out. But my two books are Between Jihad and Salam, Between War and Peace, Profiles in Islam. And in that book, I went around the world, basically interviewing leaders of Islamic movements, some of the Muslim world's best known writers or intellectuals. And I was able to do that because I was a fellow at the United States Institute of Peace, a senior fellow. So they were able to pay for it, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to. And I was on leave from NPR during that time. I also went around the world with NPR to do and use some of those interviews in a series on Muslim women that I did. And I was an on-air reporter for that. So that was my first book. And what I found in that book, that like any religion, it depends on who's interpreting it. And that's why I dubbed it Between Jihad, Holy War, because there are militants who are out there, and Salam, peace, because there are many people like the Sufis. By the way, the imam of that center, the community center that they want to build in New York is a Sufi. So he's on this end of the spectrum in Islam. And so, but then my second book, I really focused in on much more on the issue of militants. And that one is called Martyrs, Innocence, Vengeance, and Despair in the Middle East. And for that one, I really wanted to figure out and to analyze just what are Islam's teachings on terrorism and on things like suicide bombings.
You know, unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Oh, okay.
Give us that website one more time before we
good.
do
The website for the World Affairs Council is www.wacharrisburg.org.
Fantastic.
World Affairs Council of Harrisburg.
Well, I'm just going to encourage everybody to look into it and become a member.
Thank you.
Because we need to, you know, grow this. This is so unique, so necessary.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I'm pledging my membership.
Wonderful.
You know, and making sure that I get involved. And because I want to meet some of these wonderful speakers that you're bringing in like everybody else.
Absolutely. But the other idea is that people can suggest speakers. If you're involved and you know something, we are ready to hear from it.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank Joyce and Davis for being our special guest today. President of the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg. You have to get involved and become a member. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on Life Esteem. Goodbye. Great job. Yeah.
Welcome to Life Esteem, a program committed to delivering